there, this is Chris, and we're at a whole new location that I don't think many of you have ever seen around Laguna Woods, but it's definitely here in Laguna Woods. Today we are talking to the magician, set builder, architect, Kenny Simonson. Kenny, how are you today?
I'm just fine, thank you.
And this, I understand, is your
infamous shed.
Infamous shed. And this is where
we put it all together,
right,
from start to finish.
So why don't we go see the magic that's here?
Yeah.
I'll let you pull that. Those are our buildings. Would you believe it? Kenny, tell us a little bit about the process of building a set.
Well, it starts out with, once they determine what production they're going to put on.
Okay, so the board tells us we're going to do a musical, and what happens?
And then there's the production meetings and all this stuff gets started. And the director has an idea. And they usually, if it's one play or another, whatever it is, they have a somewhat basic idea of the set from the actual play or production. And so we want to try and get as close to that as possible,
okay,
with the limited area and limited stuff we can work with and what we're...
How about budget? Did you get a big budget to do this?
No, not really. We try to, as you can see, we save a lot of the stuff. And these flats, what they're called, probably have a half-inch coat of paint on them, because we repaint them, and a lot of them take one or two coats, a couple extra coats to cover the previous coating. So that's, you know,
So
saves.
you have to go darker and darker for every play?
No, we've gone from dark to white. As you can see, there's one, a black one, that we've gone, some of them we've gone to the light color. There's blue, there's even some green, you know, so it's just a matter of whatever color the director kind of wants or whatever. And we work with Noreen too, and she kind of throws in some great ideas, and it kind of goes hand in hand.
And hopefully we'll be talking to Noreen a little later. She is our set designer. I mean, a real designer.
Yeah. What it takes is time. There's probably 12 4-foot by 8-foot flats, and it usually takes that many, maybe a little more, maybe less, that we have to paint. Well, as you can...
Let me just ask you, for a flat is exactly what, a 4
foot
by 8?
By 8 foot, yes. And so as you can see, there's not a lot of room, so what we can paint, I line them up out here, and either myself and usually a couple people helping, some of the amigos, and we paint them, and we have to let them dry, move them out of the way, bring some more over. So it's not just a one-time project. To paint all the flats, it usually takes 3 different trips, 4 different sometimes. But that's...
So how much time do you need when you first know that a play is going to happen? How much time do you need before you will have a finished, built set?
I like to get about 2 months.
Aha, 2 months.
2 months.
That's about what the actors need also.
Because as you can see, not only the flats, but there's also windows, doors.
Look at the
and
double
see,
doors
like
there.
that door there was made, and it had to be a specific width. So we made the frame and put the doors in there, and we've got different sized doors, and in behind them there's wall flats with a window in them, and we have French doors and stuff that throughout the different productions we've put together, and that's what it is. So, but it takes, one of the, to me, the fun part of it is you have to make them, because a lot of the production, there's scene changes. So like for example, Dracula, we had a big French door that opened downstage. During a scene change, we had to take that heavy French door, move it to the other side of the stage, and open the other way.
Whoa.
And different things like that. Lion in Winter, we had 9 different scene changes. And what you have to do is figure out a way to do this in a very limited time. Sometimes just like 2 minutes is all you have to
And
do.
sometimes you don't even get the curtain to close.
Right. And sometimes it's the curtain's not closed, but the lights are all off, so you have to do it in the dark. So, but that's what makes it fun, for me anyway, and the different people that help.
And sometimes they're real simple, like you did a set for your good man Charlie Brown,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And so it just, you know, and like Blythe's Spirit, for example, you have different things that you can add to it at the end when the picture, you make it so the picture tilts, or books fall off a bookshelf, and things like that that you have to.
So you are a magician.
Well, yeah, I just know how to cheat.
I think that's what magicians do.
But no, so that's what makes it fun.
So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing well, I forget how many shows, how many productions, but my first one was the first part of spring of 2014.
2014. Had you just moved here? Where had you come from?
We came from Yorba Linda. We lived in
okay.
Yorba Linda.
So you were local?
Yeah, basically. Originally from Iowa.
Okay.
Good old farm boy, but that's, you know, so, but.
And you said a word a few minutes ago, and maybe you can expand a little bit on it. You said the amigos. I bet people that are watching us don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Oh, there's several people that have come. There's been both gals and guys, but there's about 3 or 4 guys that have always been there when you needed them. You know, especially setting the set up and taking it back down and helping backstage move and stuff. As you can see, again, there's not much room here, so we can't, it makes it a little tough to get more than 2 or 3 people in here. Otherwise, you're stumbling over everybody and not really getting anything accomplished too well.
The camera might not be able to see, or the people watching may not be able to see. We're taking up at least 1/3 of the space of this room.
Yeah. So, and as you can see, we've got stuff stored from previous productions up there.
Oh, barrels.
Yeah, them are from Lion in
I
Winter.
needed a barrel for something just last week.
Yeah, and you know, risers and them little pieces up there go above a door in the wall to fill in and everything. So.
And when it's something you've never seen before,
You just make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, over the time frame, you know, we've come. I try to make it as easy as possible to put it together and take it down, because you know, we put it together at the start of Tech Week, and obviously the director, actors, everybody wants to get started.
Oh yeah.
Right there on Tech Week. Well, it isn't always easy. We've got all these walls and everything to put up, so to coordinate that and get it up as soon as possible so they can do their thing.
And all of this is done for usually just one weekend. You have to put it up on a Friday morning and take it down on a Sunday night, right?
Yeah, well, we put it up, Tech Week starts on Monday, and we put it up Monday morning.
Oh, so we get it for the whole week.
You get it for the whole week. And so, and we've done it, at times we've rented a budget truck to haul the stuff over there. There's other times when a couple of people have pickups and a van or whatever and make several trips to haul it over there. For one thing, to keep the budget down.
So we're a little bit of a ways from Clubhouse 3, the Performing Arts Center, where we usually perform our plays. So Kenny has to be transportation also. This isn't just backstage. This is a bit of ways away, a couple miles probably.
That and like I was saying, the changing of scenery. You have to, and I guess I was lucky enough to be, to have to choreograph that.
And again, so you're a choreographer.
Well, just on moving stuff.
Choreographer, a director, a builder, an architect.
But, so that, for example, and I like to use this example, Lion in Winter. And it was really neat because they left the lights on and let the audience see all the changes. I mean, it was turning walls around, moving a fireplace down and everything, and all this furniture and stuff on the set changing. And we did that, actually, there were 9 scenes, but the first and last was the same. So it just, you know, and all the people that helped backstage on that all enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
Well, it's one of the great fun. You don't have to learn any lines, yet you still get to associate and be part of the play.
You have to remember where on the scene changes where you were and what you're supposed to do.
And do it exactly the same way every time, right?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's a fun process. You know, challenging at times. One time, I think it was California Suites. We had the walls all set up. Everything was set up. And here was a door, the bed, and another wall. Well, when they got started, they decided, well, the door should be on this side of the bed.
But.
So fortunately, though, we was able to, the way it was put together, we was able to do it fairly easy.
Oh, phew.
But there's, sometimes it gets, and I'll be quite honest, gets a little irritating when they, with the changes and stuff, but I've learned, you know, it's going to happen.
Of course, actors are all prima donnas, right? All has to be just that way.
It's all a team.
It is.
Backstage and front, and the actors. It's all a team.
And it is, and here especially, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a really good group of good friends.
Oh, yeah.
Doing some good work.
Yep.
So, Kenny, is your wife at all involved in this?
She used to be part of the stage management and backstage. And as you can see, I keep it, it's hard to see, but her first design was on arsenic and lace, where the walls were stenciled and looked like wallpaper.
Oh.
And it was really tough to get it all done. But what was neat about that, when the curtain opened, the audience applauded the stage set.
Oh.
And
so she had painted
that. And so that makes it all worthwhile too.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we're looking for, isn't it? Applause and enjoyment for the people who are watching.
Yep.
So, Kenny, this has just been so much fun. One day when we have 2 or 3 cameras, we can come in here and get the scope of this whole place.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Well,
and I tell you, I have enjoyed acting on your sets. And I hope to do a whole lot more.
Well, I appreciate that. And again, thank you.
Great.
You know,
Terrific.
And if anybody's interested, you don't need to know a lot.
We need help.
Painters, whatever. So be part of the Amigos.
And come have fun.
Yeah.
Again, it's Chris Mack. And now talking to the woman that brings fantasy to our life, Noreen Kruger, who has been doing our set designs for many years and originally came from South Africa. Noreen, it is just delightful to have you here this afternoon. Tell us a little bit about where you came from.
I came from South Africa, and I started in a speech and drama studio when I was 6 years old.
Six. You've been in drama a lot longer than I have then.
I was there for 12 years until I became a teacher of speech and drama from Trinity College, London. And I had LTCL on my name.
Wow. Well, okay, what does LTCL stand for?
Licentiate of Trinity College, London.
Wow.
In speech and drama.
Now tell us a little bit about some of your experiences in South Africa.
Well, when I was at university, in my first year, they were doing a play of Julius Caesar on the steps of the Great Hall, which is a huge stone classical building and pillars and everything. And we did this on the steps going down all the way.
Oh, wow.
And I played Portia, Brutus's wife,
Aha.
and Janet Sussman was Calpurnia.
Wow.
She went on to London and became the rage of the 1970s in London.
And you knew her when?
Yes, I went to everything she was in.
Wow. And so, then you were in London.
Oh, no.
No, you didn't get there. So
No,
you were still teaching in South Africa.
I was teaching, and I was teaching at a girls' school, very posh.
Ah, okay.
And one of the mothers came to me one day and she said, you know, there's this Charles Dickens book that the children have to read for the school leaving certificate. It's called A Tale of Two Cities, and they can't make head or tail of it. Do you think you could make a record of it? So
How old were the girls in your class at that point?
I was teaching them,
At what?
the whole school.
Oh, okay.
I used to come 2 days a week
Gotcha.
and go from class to class.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what did you decide to do?
So I said, well, where do I begin? And she said, my friend owns Brigadier's recording studio.
Cool.
And I'll introduce you. And she did. And he thought it was a good idea because there were dozens of schools that were all over South Africa doing the same book.
Oh, of course. It was in the curriculum, right?
And I called on two other speech teachers, and he told us that we could have a month to do the script.
Okay.
And then he said we had a special time on each side of the record, and he gave us a month
Okay.
to create the
So snap, right?
Absolutely. And then I worked with two other teachers, and the man of 100 voices who was on radio was our man.
Al Brooks, right? Or, well, I'm sorry.
No, he was on radio.
Gotcha.
And he said he'd love to do the record with us.
Cool.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes. And it was quite exciting. Suddenly we got reviews.
Whoa.
Yes. We had one in the newspaper and another in the South African Time magazine.
Wow, that's something more than any other school, I bet.
Yes, it was a surprise. But something else happened. There was a call from Betty Mashaka, who's the author of Stories for Children.
Oh, okay.
On radio.
All right.
And she asked if we could do a series of 6 records called From the Kruger National Park.
Oh, wow.
And we did it, and we also with Brigadiers, who were very happy to do this again. And we did that, and it was a huge success. We had wonderful reviews.
That's just wonderful.
I know. So there were 6 records.
6 records you did.
6 more records.
And I bet developed a lot more drama lovers.
Absolutely.
Of course.
No, it was mothers who wanted them for their children. It was all for children.
That's terrific. And then during this period, you met Dickens' grandson, did you not?
Well, that was before, yes.
Oh, tell us about that.
I got a call from a man who said, this is Charles Dickens's great-grandson.
Wow. Wow.
And I've heard that you have made a record of A Tale of Two Cities, and I'm very interested in meeting you and getting a copy of the record. And I said, okay. I put the phone down and I called the evening paper and I said, you're not going to believe this, but. And I told him the story and he said, I'm sending you a car with a photographer. We want to get it into tonight's paper.
Tonight's paper?
Tonight's paper. And I pulled people out of their teaching and off we went to meet Cedric Dickens.
Wow.
And that was very exciting, and they did take pictures, and we were on the front page.
And that is wonderful. That just is so exciting. I mean, you have met a couple pretty big celebrities in your young life.
Absolutely.
And then what did Mr. Dickens do?
Oh, he sent us copies of A Tale of, not A Tale of Two Cities, The Christmas Carol.
And for those who might remember, Noreen has told that story in our program, Tis the Season, that we have filmed. We filmed last December and have put on at the PAC several times. And it's just the most exciting story. And that brings her almost, we're not going to go there yet, but it brings us almost full circle to Noreen getting to Laguna Woods. And so it is wonderful to have this circular story. But after your experience in South Africa, where did you go?
We went to London.
Aha.
Things were bad in South Africa, and we didn't want our 3 sons to go into a war.
No.
So we went to London, and we were there for 10 years. And I worked in interior design.
That's when you got into interior design.
Yes, I was invited by 4 designers, and I worked with them for 4 years.
Now, did you have any formal education in interior design or just have a feel for it?
No, I've always had a feel for it, and I was always called for people to come and rearrange their houses and come and help them shop when they were going to do a room for their children.
And at some point, did you decide, maybe I ought to make money doing this?
I did.
And how long did you do that?
4 years. And I had a thing that I always did flowers for the room when I showed the people their room that I had designed for them.
For instance, a lovely bouquet that you have done for us this afternoon.
Well, I was always interested in flowers, and I actually went into, after we left London, I thought I'd do design again.
Okay.
But I discovered that I would have to go back to school to get a this and a that, and I thought, no.
Is that here in the United States?
In California.
Ah, of course, California.
In San Diego. And I thought, I think I'm going to do dried flowers. It was the rage
Okay.
in the 70s. In the 80s.
80s, okay.
I'm sorry, the 80s. And so I went into the dried flower job. And
was it the actual business you went into?
Oh, yes, I went into all the design centers. San Diego, Laguna, and LA.
All right.
And they all took my work and put them in their showroom, and that was good for me. And I started to work with designers.
So, Noreen, when did you finally make your way into Laguna Woods and become a resident here?
8 years ago.
Oh, 8 years.
Oh, yes. And I met John Perrick.
Okay.
And he impressed me enormously.
Phenomenal actor, isn't he? As well as director.
Absolutely. And then I went to an audition for one of the stories. And that's how I began.
So you thought you were going to get back into theater, right?
I only did one.
Okay. But you did get back into theater.
I did. But I then got a little out of a lovely niche for myself as an assistant to the directors.
Aha. Okay.
And when we did Dracula, and I was being assistant to John Perrick then, I suddenly thought of things that could be enhanced on stage, but I didn't want to make a big deal of it.
That designer in you came out. It just couldn't stay buried.
Well, I asked him if I could put a long table at the back curtain, and I put huge candlesticks, black wrought iron, that went to about 5 foot across.
Perfect.
With big, heavy coloured candles, and those little things that flicker.
Right. Perfect.
And so when it was, the curtain rose up for the first time, it was in pure darkness, and then this little flickering, and eventually all the lights were on.
That had to be the favorite play you've done, right?
Oh, I loved it. It's the one that's always in my memory.
And how many other, I mean, I won't make you say an actual number, but you've done many, many designs since then in the short 8 years that you've been here.
Yes.
Almost every play that the old pros have done on stage.
Not quite so
well,
many.
A whole lot of them. I know I worked with you on one of them.
That's right.
Yes, and it was just such a pleasure. You have such an eye, such an eye. You bring people into a fantasy world. But what's the difference doing it in a home versus a stage?
Well, there are lots of rooms that we do on stage, couches and fireplaces and chairs and tables and things like that.
Right, you have to have the kitchen, the dining room, and the bedroom.
Exactly. And I go to the rehearsals, and I make sure of all the movement.
Okay, great.
From one place to another. And I work with Ken, and he gives me a plan.
Okay.
And I can measure it. And so I know how high the window begins, and can I fit something there? And, that's...
And will somebody be sitting there or not, right?
Exactly. And I'd speak to the directors, and I'd ask them for a feel of how they saw the stage. If it was a comfy home that was...
So, Noreen, with all that you do you need a little help to do it?
Do we need help?
Oh, that's so great. I bet there are a lot of people out there that would love to come join the old pros and help you out and help us out on stage and backstage. It's just the best time and the best camaraderie, don't you think?
I love it.
Yes.
Being part of the old pros is everything.
It has been just the best experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.